Hey everybody, just wanted to give you guys an update, let you know where we're at with the car and the engine. It's been a few weeks since our last update. Essentially, we've been waiting on parts, waiting on machine work, and then waiting on me to get after it. So last week I got the block back from the machine shop. I got the rotating assembly back from the machine shop with our new pistons, and then went through and checked the parts we were going to reuse, which was the block, the rods, and the crank. So that's where we're at now, and I'm going to start working on getting this short block assembled, and then wait for more parts. Yay, yay. So here we go. Okay, here we are today working on the Chevelle motor, gapping rings today, hanging rods, installing rings onto the pistons, and then installing the pistons into their respective cylinders and torquing them on the crankshaft. Here's the new pistons, rings. There's my old camshaft. We're going to switch it out for another one. These pistons are the forged mall pistons, race pistons, 20 over. We were running the cast pistons before. So hoping that these live longer, take more abuse. We're hoping to make a little more power consistently with the bigger cam, with bigger injectors, and then with better flowing cylinder heads. We're going with stage 2 SoCal diesel cylinder heads, so they're there now, getting worked over. We're sticking with our SoCal diesel connecting rods. They all checked out good from the machine shop. Checked them for straightness, checked the bores on the big end, on the small end, and everything looks great. So we'll start assembly probably today. Once we get the rings set and all the stuff we talked about here in the beginning, it will be go time. Crankshaft's already in. Did that over the weekend. Let me see here. Let me spin this motor over. We can see the crank. So this is a standard LB7 LLY crankshaft. I think this one's LLY actually, honestly, 2005. It's the same crank we had in the last engine. I just had it magnaflexed, checked for straightness, polished, and then rebalanced with the new pistons. It was already balanced once with the old pistons and these same connecting rods. So, and then we ended up getting a different block. This is an LBZ block out of a truck that I just bought. The truck's going to be my daily truck. It's replacing my current 2002. This block was in the bed, and it was prepped already, 20 over, and it had that main girdle there already. So we're upgrading that, the main girdle. Never had that before. Still factory mains, still studs, and then 20 over now. The old motor was actually standard, so this will be a little different. Yep. Hoping here in the next few weeks the rest of my parts roll in, and it's a complete motor and back in the car. Realistically, probably sometime next month. Be back on the road. Cool. Talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Okay, all the rings are gapped and installed on the pistons here. Getting ready to hang the rods. Here are the new wrist pins, clips, all 8 pistons, and then the connecting rods. They're pretty simple to assemble. You just got to orient them correctly, and then I already numbered the pistons, so I know which holes they're going to go into based on how I gapped the rings. So yeah, we'll see if I get this done tonight. If not, it should be done tomorrow. There you are, going into its home for lots of abuse. Let me show you this crankshaft real quick. I'll show you how it spins. Look at this. Nice. It spins really good. Very happy with that. There you go. So I want to show you guys something while I'm assembling or hanging the rods. Those of you who don't assemble engines all the time, you're going to learn something right now. So there's the top side of the piston and there's the bottom side of the piston. If you look here, I got this piston here in my right hand, my left hand. There's an arrow there that points up, right? So when it's in the bore, that points towards essentially the center of the block. So the left bank points to the right bank and the right bank points to the left bank. On the bottom side of the piston, there's a bottom and a top. So if the arrow is on top, then this notch right here is on the bottom. If you look right there, there's that notch. And you can see on the skirt, on the opposite end, it doesn't have the notch. So my thumb is in the notch. I'm gonna flip the piston over and you'll see the arrow on the opposite side. So from underneath, I know this is the bottom. I know this is the top. When we go to put the rod in, the rod has 2 sides as well. So it has a flat side on the big end where the bearing goes, and then it has a chamfered side. The chamfered side goes up against the radius on the crank. If we go to a rod journal on the crankshaft, you can see the radius there, and that's where the chamfered end of the rod goes, right? So those 2 surfaces meet together right there, whereas this flat surface meets with the other connecting rod. That's where they ride. So on the piston, when we assemble it, we always put the chamfered end of the rod to the relief. That relief is for the oil squirter. Duramaxes have oil squirters. So here's the piston going in, and here's the flat side on this side. Here's the chamfer side on this side, and which lines up with the oil squirter relief in the piston. That's how I know it's correct. I know the rod is in the correct way in relation to the piston, and I know the piston is pointing up. And I've already numbered it. So, which in all reality doesn't matter. The numbers don't matter. As long as the chamfer matches the oil relief, then we know that's on the bottom side. The chamfer's on the right side of the piston, of the crank, of the journal. And if we look inside the crank here, you can see the oil squirters. So the oil squirters are always on the chamfer side of, or the radius side of the crank, right? There's the oil squirter, there's a radius. So they line up accordingly. And then on this side, they line up just like this side, see? So it's perfect. And then once the piston is there, that relief is there, so it doesn't hit the oil squirter. That's what that relief is for. That little notch is to clear this. It's to clear this. Exactly. So just show you that real quick.